Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Kelvin here. On and off, I get people saying that Singapore is just a place to work. Then, when they are older, they plan to retire in Malaysia. Because, 1 HD to RM3. Oh sorry, it's RM3.2 now. Like this comment here. Work in Singapore during your prime and retire in comfort back in Malaysia. Singaporean retiree thinking of buying a house in Johor to retire. Work in Singapore and save as much as you can, then retire early and go back to Malaysia. Even that honey money guy is considering to retire in Malaysia. But what about me? No, I'm not planning to retire in Malaysia. But why? Okay, let me share something with you guys. I'm actually born in Ipoh. What? Yes, that Ipoh Hofen or Ipoh Old Town White Coffee. That Ipoh. I have been living in Malaysia for half of my life. Then only came to Singapore to study and work before losing my job. So, I'm something of a Malaysian myself. And I want to give you my take on why even though I'm from Malaysia, I don't plan to retire in Malaysia, even though we have chewing gum and fresh chicken there. But before I start, I would greatly appreciate it if you can help to tap the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. In return, I will show you a store owner who is a dog. Alright, let's first start with why Malaysia is a good place to retire. Not surprisingly, the number one reason is that Malaysian stuff is cheap due to HD to Malaysia ringgit conversion. For example, in Malaysia, hawker food like prawn mee will cost 7 ringgit or $2.30, or a meal at a fancy restaurant will cost 50 ringgit or just $16. Of course, it depends on what you eat, yeah? If you are a water fish and got tricked into buying a $460 burger, then may God bless you. Other than food, housing is super cheap. For example, a double-story landed house with enough space to park 5 cars just costs 550k ringgit. Speaking about cars, a normal car in Malaysia is just 30k to 40k ringgit, and you get to keep the car forever. There's no 10-year nonsense thing in Malaysia. I could go on and on, like cheap education, cheap massages, cheap staycation, cheap this, cheap that. You get the idea. Second reason, you have way more places to visit. In Singapore, when we go for staycations, where do we go? City Hall, Orchard Road, definitely not Yishun, Changi Village, Sentosa. That's about it. There's generally nothing much to do in Singapore. You can go shopping, cycling, more shopping, look at the fabulous man-made waterfall, hiking, shopping, more shopping. Of course, there's a lot more stuff to do, but you know what I'm talking about. In comparison, Malaysia has way more things to do. Like, you want to swim? There's ton of islands that you can go to. You want cold weather? Drive up to Cameron Highlands or Genting. Yes, it's pronounced as Genting, not Genting. You like exploring nature? Go visit the caves, hike up a mountain, visit beautiful paddy fields, check out the waterfalls, or soak your feet at hot springs. In short, Malaysia has a lot of places to visit, and it's hard to get bored here. Third reason, Malaysians are warm and friendly. This one not I own self say own self. People say this all the time. Malaysians are a lot more warm and friendly. Malaysians are very friendly. People here are friendly. This is a good thing because when you are in a country, you want to feel welcome. Sure, on and off, there's some racist people asking the Chinese to go back Tongshan or asking Indians to go back India. But these racist people are the minorities. Personally, I've never encountered real racism in Malaysia. Everywhere I go, I only find friendly and warm Malaysians. Next, healthcare. Even though people still think Malaysians live on trees, yes, we still live on trees, but we can take elevators to go up the trees one. Anyway, healthcare is actually super good in Malaysia. We all know that Singapore healthcare is good. We even rank second in medical tourism index. But Malaysia is not too bad either. They won the destination of the year for health and medical tourism. Prior to that, they also won the title 3 times in a row and received 1.3 million healthcare travelers in 2019. If you go to government hospitals or clinics, the fee can be as low as just 1 ringgit. Stuff like x-rays, cancer treatment, hemodialysis, dentists are super duper affordable. So if you are sick, you don't really have to fork out too much money when visiting the doctor. Last but not least, good food. Now, we can debate all day long whether Singapore or Malaysian food is better. Definitely Malaysia. But one thing we can all agree on is that Malaysian food tastes good. Lonely Planet ranked KL's curry laksa as top second food to try. Before that, it was Penang food. CNN also conducted a poll and found that Malaysia is ranked 6th for world's best food. I could go on and on how good Malaysia is. Life is more relaxed there. The government is not so strict. You can easily start a business there and so on. But let's talk about the cons of retiring in Malaysia. Quick pause. Weibo is the latest stockbroker in Singapore. With Weibo, you can now buy US stocks, US options and Hong Kong stocks for a low fee of $0. Yes, that's right. It's zero commission trading. Weibo also supports fractional shares. So you can now buy stocks with just your $100 Angbao money. But the most important question is, what's their sign-up gift? If you sign up now, deposit at least $1,965, make 6 buy trades on either US stocks, ETFs or options, you will get $100 worth of free Google shares. This promotion ends on 1st September, yeah? So if you are interested, you can sign up with my link down below. With that being said, let's get back to the video. First, it's not exactly cheap. Sure, housing, food and everything may be cheap. But that's only because of our Yusof Ishak currency. A Malaysian shared that having 10k ringgit is not enough to live in KL. And it's not as though he's living some atas life. His biggest expenses are rental at 1.6k ringgit, 2 kids 1.8k ringgit, and food at 1.7k ringgit. Oh, remember that the car that's super cheap when you live in Malaysia is a basic necessity. All of a sudden, you have additional costs. Car payments cost 960 ringgit, petrol 430 ringgit, touch and go 250 ringgit. When you add all this up, it's extra 1.6k ringgit that you have to spend. Also, did you know that Malaysia's broadband is super expensive? Just a simple 100 Mbps band would already cost 129 ringgit. And it's not guaranteed that your area will have broadband, yeah? If you live in rural areas, chances are you won't have internet. Because you know, the locals have better things to do than just swiping TikTok all day long. If you complain about the bad internet to them, they will ask you to fork out 23k ringgit so that they can build the infrastructure for you. By the way, you know how Singapore raised their GST and everyone kaupu? Malaysia will be reintroducing GST again. You can expect the prices to go up soon. So even though Malaysia is cheap, it's not exactly cheaper by a lot. If you want to talk about cheap living costs, there are cheaper places like Bali or Vietnam or Thailand, which are all equally good places to retire in. Second, driving. Since public transport is not that good in Malaysia, you have to drive to go anywhere. Every time I go back Malaysia, I have to drive and more driving. On average, I was driving over 1 hour every day. And that's just in Ipoh, a super small town. That's because things in Malaysia are far apart. Your house can be here, but your office is all the way there. Then the supermarket is all the way across town. In KL, you can expect to drive for 44 minutes to go to work. If you are not caught in the jam, of course. For Penang, it's slightly better, but it's still 29 minutes. Personally, I don't like to drive. I just like to swipe my phone and read hate comments on Hardware Zone while traveling. That's why in Singapore, I have my own chauffeur, the bus driver and train driver. So if you ever move to Malaysia, you need to get used to driving every day. Third, safety. We all know that Malaysia is less safe when compared to Singapore. When you go out, you get snatch thieves. Then your home might get burglared. Your car can get stolen. Oh, you lock your car? No problem. They will just steal your tire. In Singapore, you can top your seat with tissues or umbrella or even your phone. But if you try that in Malaysia, it's free real estate. On a more serious note, child kidnappings and rape cases are a little higher here too. So you will need to be a little bit more careful. But with that being said, I feel this whole safety thing is the same no matter where we go. It's not like Malaysia is Gotham City, where criminals run the country. Malaysia is actually quite safe lah. Like for me, my stuff has never been stolen in Malaysia before. I'm still alive and well. But in Singapore, some dude stole my slippers. So just use common sense, like don't go to dark places at night. Always park your cars in bright areas. Get a house alarm, don't show off your jewelry, and you will mostly be alright. Fourth, bribe culture. This shouldn't be surprising, right? Malaysia is ranked quite badly when it comes to corruption, with 71% of the people feel that government corruption is a big problem, and 13% of public service users paid a bribe in the past 1 year. If you are caught speeding, chances are you will have to pay a bribe. There are reports about Malaysian officers not stamping Singaporean passports when re-entering Singapore, only to collect bribes later. This post, I think bribery is already an endemic among Malaysians, got a lot of likes. It's basically a Malaysian culture by now. Fun fact, in the past, when you were taking driving exams in Malaysia, it's common to bribe the examiner so that he will let you pass. In short, if you ever got into trouble in Malaysia, or if you want to get things done faster, you will need to get used to this whole bribe culture. Fifth, efficiency. The one thing that I like about Singapore is that it's super duper efficient here. Like whatever you want to get done, you can usually complete it within the same day to a few days. Other than passport, of course. But in Malaysia, you wait long. If you want to eat food, you will need to drive 10 to 20 minutes to the nearby restaurant. Or if you want to send something, you will take a few days to arrive. In general, it will take a much longer time to get things done in Malaysia. Okay, here are my thoughts. Whether it's Singapore or Malaysia or any country for that matter, it always has its pros and cons. Like for Singapore, people feel that the government is too strict, or the people are less warm, or the living cost is high here. If you do decide to stay in the country, you need to ask yourself whether you can accept all its cons or not. As for me, the reason I don't want to retire in Malaysia is not because I don't like Malaysia or something. Malaysia is definitely a beautiful country with friendly people and nice food. Instead, the reason is I don't want to limit myself to just Singapore and Malaysia. There are way more countries than just these two. I can retire in New Zealand, or Taiwan, or Japan, or Bali, or Spain. The list goes on and on. Because don't forget, our HD is actually super strong. The world is a super big place, and one of my goals is to experience living in as many countries as possible, enjoying their food, talking to their locals, and experiencing their culture. So that's the simple reason why I don't want to retire in Malaysia. But where do you plan to retire? Do comment down below and let me know. Like, share, and subscribe as I'll be posting new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.